The Southeast Asian region sits along the Pacific Ring of Fire and the Pacific Typhoon Belt. These geographic traits expose the region to numerous natural hazards, such as the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004, Cyclone Nargis in 2008, Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, and the Central Sulawesi earthquake and tsunami in 2018. ASEAN acknowledges the region's vulnerabilities and is committed to protect the communities across the most disaster-prone areas. The risks faced by the communities also mean opportunities to foster a collective resilience to reduce disaster risks. Based on the commitment manifested through ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response, the AHA Center was established on November 2011 and strengthened through the signing of the ASEAN Declaration on One ASEAN, One Response. ASEAN responding to disasters as one in the region and outside the region. The declaration reiterates the role of the AHA Center as the primary ASEAN regional coordinating agency on disaster management and emergency response. Based on these high-level commitments, the core service of the AHA Center is on enhancing cooperation among ASEAN member states and strengthening coordination for ASEAN's collective response.
Under the ADMER, the AHA Center is mandated to report to each NDMOs of the ASEAN member states as governing board.
The 5 core functions of the AHA Center are coordination, data intelligence and analysis, resource management, knowledge and outreach, financing. Coordination is the AHA Center's primary mandate. As a primary regional coordinating agency, the AHA Center works with a diverse range of sectors and stakeholders in all phases of disaster management. During emergency response phase, the AHA Center is coordinating at 3 levels. Strategic level at the AHA Center's Emergency Operations Center, or EOC. Operational level in the capital city of the affected country, and tactical level on the ground. In coordinating partnerships during emergency responses, we are guided by standard operating procedure for regional standby arrangements and coordination of joint disaster relief and emergency response operations, and supported by the ASEAN ARAT, Emergency Response and Assessment Team. We regularly rehearse scenarios outlined in the AJDRP, or ASEAN Joint Disaster Response Plan. Once every 2 years, we partner with the appointed host country to organize ARDEX, or ASEAN Regional Disaster Emergency Response Simulation Exercise, involving responders from all 10 ASEAN member states and our humanitarian partners. We are also on standby 24/7 to monitor and analyze impact of natural hazards with the support of our Disaster Monitoring and Response System, or DMRS, the ASEAN Disaster Information Network (ADINET), satellite imageries, and other data intelligence and monitoring system. On a weekly basis, we release ASEAN Weekly Disaster Updates. At the notification of a disaster, a flash alert will be released and then followed by a flash update. When the disaster situation intensifies, a situation update will be issued. To support the readiness of NDMOs, or National Disaster Management Organizations, in responding to disasters, we are responsible in managing various assets and capacities for immediate deployment, such as the ASEAN ARAT and the Disaster Emergency Logistics System of ASEAN, or DELSA, with the support of dialogue partners in addition to other international organizations. We have successfully managed the regional stockpile in Subang, Malaysia, as well as mobilizing relief items since 2012. 2 satellite warehouses in Manila, the Philippines, and China, Thailand, are also ready to operate to increase the speed, the scale, and the solidarity of ASEAN's response. We are expected to extend our support rapidly at the request or approval of disaster-affected ASEAN countries. When necessary, we can also be requested to facilitate mobilization of assets and capacities from ASEAN member states or other partners. In constructing a shared understanding of the region's vision and cooperation among NDMOs and humanitarian partners, we actively promote knowledge exchange and reach out to wider public to disseminate information on risk awareness and ASEAN's disaster management efforts. In addition to our online communications platforms, the Center also publishes monthly newsletters, The Column, issues annual ASEAN Risk Monitor and Disaster Management Review, or ARMOR, to bridge science and decision-making, and documents lessons learned from past disasters and other references for others who wish to learn more about our region's disaster management efforts. The AHA Center Executive or ACE program is one of the Center's signature programs to build the capacity of future ASEAN leaders on disaster management, promote knowledge exchange, and enhance ASEAN's joint efforts in attending to its own disaster risks. The trust and support of all 10 ASEAN member states in the AHA Center is manifested through the annual and equal contribution as well as additional voluntary contribution. On top of that, the Center also receives financial support from ASEAN dialogue partners and other donor institutions, as well as in-kind contributions and technical assistance from other partners. The AHA Center aims to diversify its funding sources to sustain the regional humanitarian financing.
The AHA Center has come a long way since our establishment in November 2011. We faced many hurdles, challenges, and difficulties, but with the strong support from ASEAN community, in particular the ASEAN member states, as well as our partners, we are able to overcome them and stand where we are now. We have achieved a lot, but we are still at the beginning of our journey. Our mission is to improve the resiliency of the region against disaster under the spirit of One ASEAN, One Response. We look forward to working closely with you to help us achieve this vision. Together, we can.
Visit www.ahacenter.org and follow us on social media to learn more about ASEAN's disaster management initiatives.